Okay, I found this article that I wrote back in 2004, July 18th, 2004. It's on our website at thomhartmann.com. It's titled "The Ghost of Vice President Wallace Warns It Can Happen Here." And here's the article. John Nance Garner had been FDR's vice president 33 to 41. Henry Wallace was his vice president 41 to 45. And in early 1944, actually it was April 9th, 1944, the New York Times asked Henry Wallace to answer this question in an op-ed for the New York Times. Here's the question that the New York Times, they asked him to, quote, write a piece answering the following questions. What is a fascist? How many fascists do we have? How dangerous are they? Okay. This is April 9, 1944. We are, this is before D-Day, isn't it? I'm lousy with dates around World War II. No, it's 45, I think. But anyhow, Wallace says the really dangerous American fascists are not those who are hooked up directly or indirectly with the Axis. That would be with the Japanese and the Nazis. He said the really dangerous American fascists are not those who are hooked up directly or indirectly with the Axis. The FBI has its finger on those. The dangerous American fascist is the man who wants to do in the United States in an American way what Hitler did in Germany in a Prussian way. The American fascist would prefer not to use violence. His method is to poison the channels of public information. With a fascist, the problem is never how best to present the truth to the public, but how best to use the news to deceive the public into giving the fascist and his group more money or more power. Really? He continues. If we define an American fascist as one who, in case of conflict, puts money and power ahead of human beings, and there are undoubtedly several million fascists in the United States, there are probably several 100,000 if we narrow the definition to include only those who, in their search for money and power, are ruthless and deceitful. They are patriotic in time of war because it is to their interest to be so, but in time of peace they follow power and the dollar wherever that may lead. Then Henry Wallace, vice president of the United States, sitting vice president, when he wrote this piece for the New York Times, he said, still another danger is represented by those who, paying lip service to democracy and the common welfare, in their insatiable greed for money and the power which money gives, do not hesitate surreptitiously to evade the laws designed to safeguard the public from monopolistic extortion. American fascists of this stamp were clandestinely aligned with their German counterparts before the war and are even now preparing to resume where they left off after the, quote, present unpleasantness, end quote, ceases. He goes on. The symptoms of fascist thinking, he said, Wallace wrote, big businesses are willing to jeopardize the structure of American liberty to gain some temporary advantage. Monopolists who fear competition and who distrust democracy because it stands for equal opportunity would like to secure their position against small and energetic enterprise businesses, small businesses. In an effort to eliminate the possibility of any rival growing up, some monopolists would sacrifice democracy itself. The symptoms of fascist thinking are colored by environment and adapted to immediate circumstances. But always and everywhere they can be identified by their appeal to prejudice and by the desire to play upon the fears and vanities of different groups in order to gain power. It is no coincidence that the growth of modern tyrants has in every case been heralded by the growth of prejudice. It may be shocking to some people in this country to realize that, without meaning to do so, they hold views in common with Hitler when they preach discrimination. The American fascists are most easily recognized by their deliberate perversion of truth and fact. Their newspapers and propaganda carefully cultivate every fissure of disunity, every crack in the common front. They claim to be super-patriots, but they would destroy every liberty guaranteed by the Constitution. They demand free enterprise, but are the spokesman for monopoly and vested interest. Their final objective, toward which all of their deceit is directed, is to capture political power so that using the power of the state and the power of the market simultaneously, they may keep the common man in eternal subjection. As we speak, 300 millionaires and billionaires are meeting. Maybe their meeting wrapped up yesterday. I'm not sure, but maybe if it's continuing today, meeting in Palm Springs at the Koch brothers, with at a resort that the Koch brothers have rented. They claim to be super patriots, but they would destroy every liberty guaranteed by the Constitution, wrote Vice President Henry Wallace on April 9, 1944. They demand free enterprise, but are the spokesman for monopoly and vested interest. Their final objective, toward which all their deceit is directed, is to capture political power, so that, using the power of the state and the power of the market simultaneously, they may keep the common man in eternal subjection. Wow.